Okay, here we are again.
Hi.
I'm Samantha Tunador.
I'm Barbara Ellis.
And we're executive leaders with our Stella and Dot family of brands. And we've been bringing a few trainings to you. It looks like we're a little lopsided here. Can you just sit a little crooked? That will help. Like the camera's off. It's not you. It's you. We'd like to have a little bit of fun.
So,
we're coming here today to talk to you about prospecting and filling your funnel with potential shoppers, hosts, stylists, right? People who might refer people to you.
brand ambassadors, people who are going to shop your line. So not everybody is going to always be somebody who's going to want to join your team or host, but you're going to have some people who are just going to be your A-plus customers, and you want them too.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
Right? Like kind of like that whole style club member, and make them feel like this is where they come first for shopping.
Absolutely.
So you're so good at building those relationships in that community, and we've had a few conversations around that. But I think when you're starting a business, you go, all right, who am I going to share this with? And a lot of people often feel like, I don't know who would want this. I don't know who I should share it with.
Right.
So what would you say are some of the basics for getting started with who you're going to share Stella and Dot with?
The number one basic is start what we call a who do you know list. And that list pretty much contains almost everybody that you know. And it should just be kind of a brain dump onto a piece of paper, onto an Excel spreadsheet, but it does need to be written somewhere so that you can go back and you can prioritize names and do some other things with it. So if it's in your head, get it out onto paper, get it out onto an Excel spreadsheet. And you can use whatever acronym you like for finding the different circles of people to add to the list, just like a memory jogger sort of list. But Frank is one that works really, really well. Mm-hmm. F is for friends, so who are your friends? Write them all down. R is for relatives. Who are you related to that would love to shop, host, or join? So those are awesome prospects. A is for activities. So who do you know who are in your activity circles? It could be book club, it could be church, it could be a wine club, going to the bar, or going to bar, B-A-R-R-E.
Any bar.
Any bar.
Well, no,
or the gym.
When you say activities, it's acquaintances, people you know of, right, that you see every day in your life.
And I use it as activities, isn't
it's
that
kind
funny?
of the same thing then, because
yeah.
you meet your acquaintances through those activities.
Yeah. Well, and that's a good point, because acquaintances, some people think, oh, friends, and they only think of those that are closest to them. So I guess acquaintances would be a really good way to think about that, for sure.
And N is for neighbors.
N is for neighbors.
New neighborhood, old neighborhood, past neighborhoods.
Yeah, places that you have lived. It's amazing how many people are close to those in their neighborhood, but they don't really think about them in terms of shopping or hosting. Mm-hmm. And kids. Yeah, do you have any kids connections? It could be people that you know from the sidelines of your sporting activities. It could be the principal of the school that you attend who compliments you on your style. I mean, there's so many connections through your children. And my son's 24, so my connections are really diminished at this point, but I still have connections because of him for things from the past. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that acronym is a good one to help you kind of brainstorm, but I also think just kind of the simple of putting people on that who do you know list is going back to everyone you know, and those are key places like your phone list, starting with A's, your Facebook friend list, your wedding invite list.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
Yeah.
What email chains are you on for the community? Like, you have a lot of contacts, and here's the thing, you cannot decide for them how they're going to fit into your business. Like, you might have an idea that she's so stylish, she's going to shop for the line, or oh, she needs to go back to work, this might be a good business for her. Like, you can think of the reasons that it might fit for her, but it's not your job to decide. So I really feel like you should put everyone on that list. Now, to be honest with you, when I open up my phone, which is up here, otherwise I would show you, the first one on my list is AAA. I don't know anyone at AAA. Like, it was decades ago when we really used AAA to get like map ticks before we had online maps, right? I'm not calling anyone at AAA. But the next one is my doctor's office. Heck yeah. Can I shop by and leave some catalogs there, right? So I'm going to go through everyone on that list, and I'm going to put them on my Who Do You Know list. And here's the thing. This is one of the things you're going to find yourself doing. You're going to skip over people because you're going to make excuses for them. And it's really, that's just not fair. And here's what will happen. Somebody else will reach out to them, whether it's with another line, with another Stella & Dot stylist, and they will share Stella & Dot with them. This happened to me with my stepmother. When she would ask me how my business was going, I would always say, it's so good, I'm loving it, it's amazing, right? And I'd mail her a catalog or whatever, this and there. And I was at her house once, and she had all this new product. I'm like, you didn't shop that with me? And where did you get this? And she said, oh, the girl down the street, she's working really hard to build her business, and she needed the support, and it seems like your business is going okay, right? So I never went to her and said, look, I really need your help. Right? I really want to grow my business. And those that are hot, meaning closest, warm, that are in our immediate circle, they're making decisions too based on how you're sharing. So everyone should be on that list. Now, I also think you're probably going to run across, if I look at my list now, there's another Stella & Dot stylist on my list. I'm not going to call her and say, hey, you should shop or have a show with me. So there's a couple people that won't be there, and there's definitely some people who will say, oh no, my sister just started selling this. I'm not ideal for you. Keep me in mind in the future, should anything change or if she needs some added support, right?
And let me just go back to the don't prejudge, because there are people that are some of my biggest supporters who are, when if they were to walk in a room, you would not point at them and go, wow, she's super stylish, or wow, she's going to love all this product. But they shop for gifts. They do love our essentials. They're wearing our tops. They carry the bags.
They started wearing jewelry.
They started wearing jewelry because of me.
Yeah.
So there's some people that if I had really pointed at them and said, oh, she's not really into fashion, it's not for her, I would have skipped out on a really, really great opportunity.
Yeah.
And flip side to that is there's going to be some people that you're going to think are like automatic, yeah, they're going to want to host, they're going to want to join, they're going to want to do this and that, and then they say no. So be prepared that you're going to have some people on your list that are going to say no to you, and that is absolutely okay. Just don't take it personally. It may be that they don't have enough information about the product. It may be that it's not a good time for them. It may be that they really don't know what to do, and so they're going to say no. One of my very best friends that I've known for a really long time said, absolutely not. I don't like that kind of thing. It's not for me. I don't want anything to do with it. So for the first 4 years of my business, she had nothing to do with my business.
And now?
And now she shops with me. Right. And she hosted a show, and she saw a product that she
What was the turning point? How did she warm up?
I actually was going out to visit that area and reached out to her, and I said, I know you don't personally love the product, but I also know that you've got this organization that's near and dear to your heart. And she had just been talking about it on Facebook. And I said, if you would like, we can use my business and raise some funds for this organization. And she said, oh, that would be great. So that's how I hosted a show. And then she saw the product, and then she was like, I had no idea it was this good.
Nice. Right?
So,
she assumed, like we might assume for them. And so over time you warmed her up, but you stayed committed.
Yeah,
right?
and I wasn't pushy. I didn't keep reaching back out to her constantly. I wasn't pestering her. I was very respectful of the answer, but I kept her on my mailing list. And she was, I wasn't shy about talking about it with her when I was on the phone with her or via text or whatever, letting her know how my business was going. So she was getting bits and pieces.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when you saw that she had a need and you could offer a solution, you showed her how they both worked.
Yep.
So it came in so perfectly.
Yep.
And here's the thing. So had you just skipped over her completely and never told her about Stella & Dot, if you're going to go through your list of people and skip someone, I just want you to send that person's name and number to me, because I know that it's worth sharing this gift with them, and I'm happy to reach out to them. That's filling my funnel is going to be you all sending me your leads that you don't want to call. Anyway, don't do that. Those are your people that are on your chicken list, and you're having a moment of decision of like, you don't want to call them because, and I'm going to encourage you to take 20 seconds of courage and reach out to them anyway. If you need to, call a buddy. Get someone to give you the courage or the words to say, and hash out why you think that person would be a good fit, and hash out what the worst case scenario would be, and then find the 20 seconds of courage, because they just might surprise you. And just keep that open. And it's okay to say things like, look, if now's not the right timing, that's okay, but I'm not going to stop sharing this with you because you're important to me and I think you're going to love this, right? So keeping that open arm is key. But let's go back kind of to that core of like, we could talk all day about what to do with these potentials, but you've got to keep building that list. And that list I like putting it in a notebook that has a lot of pages, because you can keep going and adding in. You can put notes beside them when you followed up with them, what conversations you had, but it should be a constantly growing list, because in sales and marketing, you basically have a funnel, right? Does it look kind of like a vagina? Like it's bigger at the top? So at the top of the funnel, you have all these people up there, right? And then as they become more and more familiar with Stella and Dot, because they become more and more familiar with you, you warm them up, they come down through the funnel and they start falling out into your business. And putting people into that funnel consistently is what keeps them consistently falling out, right? Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about
in a good way. Falling out with a sale, becoming a stylist, hosting a show.
Business.
Not falling out because they fell off a ladder.
Yeah. So we know that everybody knows at least 200 people, and each of the people they know knows 200 people. I think those are kind of old stats. Like, we know and have collected a lot more now because of social media and the sort. I would say that it is always going to be easier to build your business with the people that are hot, that are closer to you, and that are warm. Mm-hmm. Those that are cold prospects, it's going to be a more difficult and longer build. So Absolutely. Cold prospects might come from knocking on doors. I was chatting with a stylist who did that the other day. That's hard work. It's rough. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot more knocking on doors to get a good response.
I knocked on doors one time because I was inviting my brand new neighbors to an open house at my condo. And even that situation where I was a neighbor, I was introducing myself, inviting them to a social something, I still had a lot of weird responses and things like that. It was very awkward. Now, I did meet some nice people, but I don't recommend that. Yeah. I don't really recommend that as a way to garner new customers outside of what I did.
It's kind of an add-on. When I have open houses here at my home, I have 126 immediate neighbors. 2 or 3 of them shop with me. So I'm like, oh, how could I get another 10% of those people, right? So I will definitely take a catalog buy with an invite and tuck it on the mailbox side, like hoping they'll come. It's an effort I put in to ideally gain another person or 2 popping in the house. Right. And it's worked from time to time. And I've certainly gotten the holiday order in from the husband at the house around the corner where she had folded the pages down. So I do think it's something you can do, but I would not advise building your business initially off of the cold prospects. Always start with the warm ones and make sure they know that they're welcome and invited into your business and that you value their business. So your list should honestly be about 200 long, if not more, and you should be working through that list with a really good 4-step follow-up program. Katie Kernick is just the expert and has a great video on sharing that. But that 4-step follow-up program, we could do a whole nother training on it, but you can't reach out to somebody one time and expect them to turn into business. It takes 4 years.
You also cannot put a post on your Facebook wall and say, I'm a stylist with Stella and Dot, expect people to come flocking to your website. Right.
Well, only 10% of the people that you're friends with even see that post.
If 10%, maybe 2%. Mm-hmm. So people put those posts up and say, well, nobody responded to me. Well, there's a reason for that. Right. So when she says reach out, that means an individual reach out.
Connection. Absolutely. Yeah. Warm them up. I often have the question, how do I connect with someone who I haven't talked to in a long time? Which happens on Facebook because you have your high school friends on there, for example. And I do think there's 2 different thoughts. And here's the thing. Just do it, because you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Doing it's better than not doing it. I think to make it less icky and more comfortable, I tend to go, and yours might be totally different, but I tend to go in with, if I'm reaching out to someone from high school whose feed just popped up and, you know, her and her family were at an event, I might reach out to her and say, oh my gosh, I made my day seeing your photo and everybody looking so happy in the photo. I'm actually reaching out to you for business reasons, but I really love the idea of being able to catch up with you. Do you mind if I share, if I ask you a few questions from a business standpoint? I like letting them know why I'm reaching out, because it does not feel comfortable to me to be like, make all the small talk and then be like, oh, by the way, will you buy my product? Which I wouldn't actually say it that way, but I don't want her to ever think I came with another reason, another purpose, and that the initial stuff wasn't authentic. I'd rather be honest and just say, I'm reaching out for business reasons. I love the idea that it will give us an opportunity to connect more. Do you do yours differently?
No, I pretty much do mine the same way. I try to be as upfront as possible if I'm going to reach out to somebody in that manner. Always mention something about that I've seen on their feed.
Yeah.
Maybe remind them of how we knew each other. It's been so long. I haven't seen you since high school or since band camp or whatever, however it is.
Were you at band camp?
I was not at band camp. No, not at band camp. Don't know where that came out of my mouth. But
I didn't know
just
about you.
Just an example. But I think having a little nicety in there and then talking about the reason why you're reaching out. And I have had really good success with saying, you know, you're so cute, so fashionable, so stylish, you know, you use whatever wording you want.
You live in an area
you live in an area that I'm looking to grow. I hope you don't mind me being so forward. And then you kind of go into what it is that and you could ask them to join your VIP group.
Can I send you a catalog?
Can I send you a catalog? You know, there's all number of reasons for reaching out. It's not just here's my link, shop.
Where do you currently shop?
Yeah. So you can kind of couch it in some terms that are a little softer, or with an invite to a group or to an event or something.
Come to my house. Right. Always be inviting.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way, like, for reaching out to people. But I think the key is you just have to do it. So you're going to work through who you know now, right? Whether you, to brainstorm, use Frank, or you use those phone lists or contact lists. And those should always be your main focus. Like, have you exhausted those? And people often tell me they have. And I'm like, no, you haven't, because I haven't exhausted mine 10 years later. Like, my list is so full and overflowing, which gives me confidence. And you add to that list. Every time you meet someone new, you should be adding them to that list. And often I have people say to me, I don't have their phone number. How can I reach out to them? What would you do? Do you hear that, right?
I do hear that. Facebook Messenger is probably the number one way that I reach out to people that I don't have a phone number for. But you can also, if you're really determined to send them a text, if you have a mutual friend, you can certainly say, hey, I'm missing Susie's phone number. Do you happen to have it on hand?
White pages?
White pages. I mean, you can Google search them. Sometimes even have it in their profile on Facebook. So there's multiple ways. I have not found a difference between text and Facebook Messenger. I find them both to be equally equally effective in terms of working. So don't feel like you have to have a phone number. Don't feel like you have to pick up that 800-pound phone.
Email can work too. Oh, hi. We're doing a video. You want to join our video?
Hi, girl.
You interrupted a video, but that's okay. Oh, shit.
No, I'll come back later. Okay. Sorry.
I'll be probably 15 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
What were we talking about? What were we talking about?
I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about Facebook Messenger versus text.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the key is just reaching out to them.
If
you have their email, it's okay to email them and say, hey, by the way, I didn't grab your phone number. Do you mind sending it to me? Right? So, and then it's keeping those contacts. Your client, another place to work through people is through your client list that have already shopped with you. Let me look at my notes. Sorry. Oh, so going back to, like, you have lots of people to work with. Keep working through those, and then you grow your list in other ways, like pop-up events, vendor events. But remember, when you go and do those are cold prospects. It's going to take more effort to warm them up. You were at a winery 2 weekends ago, and they were just walking by. And the people that didn't walk by, it was because they already knew Stella and Dot, they already loved jewelry, or they already knew you, so they stopped. Yep. But the people just walking by, it's going to take a lot of work. And when they do stop, it still takes a lot of work to build that trust and rapport. So it takes a lot of time, effort, sometimes money to do those events. and it's the harder way to meet and work with people. So I would still say do those events if they're in the right buyer profile, if they're within your community, they're a reasonable price point. I personally did a yard sale, or what we call a South Riding yard sale. Another stylist on our team had booked it and paid for it and couldn't go on that Saturday morning and said, will you go do it? I hauled a tent over there and tables, and I thought I needed 600 catalogs and set up the whole line. At the end of the day, I sold a pair of soiree drop earrings for $39. It was a rough morning. Like, I might have quit. It was hard, right? But what came of that? That pair of $39 earrings has turned into a really great friend who hosted a show to get product for free, who introduced me to so many people that turned into stylists on our team. She was also a stylist on our team, and there's still stylists on our team because of her, which turned into one of the largest leadership teams we've ever created in this, within our company and team. And that $39 pair of earrings, 9 years later, has probably been $150,000 in income for me. So good things do come from doing those, but you have to stick to it and follow through with them. And it's a good thing I got her number and her email that day, and that I stayed connected to my $39 pair of earrings. And I don't know if you know, but Sally Chose, Grey Hunt Interiors, and she's got this wonderful interior design company. But because she bought that pair of earrings and I did the follow-up and I did the work, so many more things came, like Carrie and Jessa, like our team, all the many leaders out of that, like out of a $39 pair of earrings. So do it, but do it alongside your regular prospecting and team, right?
Do you want to talk about where we can do pop-ups?
Yeah, where's a good place to do pop-ups?
I go to my hair salon.
Yeah,
that's a fabulous
like
place.
consistently.
Often. I go there every other month, once a quarter minimum. And the stylists in the salon know me. They are so excited for me to be there. They talk about it with all their clients. I drop off catalogs. They share the catalogs. I get orders afterwards from having the catalogs out on the stations. So hair salons are a great place. Wineries, wine bars, anything to do with wine. Speaking of bar classes, Pilates.
Yes.
Exercise.
Our local festivals.
Exercise
areas. School events.
Oh, school events are fabulous, especially if you're connected to the school. If you're not connected to the school, it can be a little bit of a rougher go, but if you have some connection to the school, that's always a good thing.
Yeah. So you have a little bit of rapport you can build with people there.
And those are...
real estate offices.
Real estate offices are a good one.
We have what we call First Friday here, so I'll usually try to pop up at a local art studio or boutique.
Networking events, those are hit or miss. And the reason I'm going to say hit or miss is because they tend to be very expensive. Because the people who are putting on networking events want all the vendors to pay for the networking event. So they want to charge you like $150 for a table, but they can't guarantee how many people are going to come through the door. It's all about making money for them. It's not about you. So just know that if you do set up a vendor table at a networking event, don't be bamboozled by having to pay a lot of money for that. You're probably better off going to the networking event, attending either for free,
making some friends,
or $20 and making some friends and making those connections that way. In fact, it's one of my absolute all-time favorite ways to meet new people is to go to networking events, but I like to do it as a customer, not so much as a vendor.
Right.
Yeah.
It has almost a better return. One of the most recent ones I went to, I was invited, I was a guest. It had to do with shoes. I wore some cute shoes. I won a prize. I actually gave my prize to the hostess who invited me. It was a piece of jewelry. I didn't need it. Meanwhile, I messaged her the other day and said, hey, let's do a show this season. She's never had a show before. And she immediately responded with, yes, and how about Thursday evening? And I'm like, sure, I can hold off on picking up my son from college for another couple hours and go to a show at her house. So I was able to book a show in tight because I had that time to go there and be there with her and build that relationship. So the relationship building is definitely key there, building that trust and building that rapport. So I think when it comes down to it, it just goes back to work with who you already know, develop those acquaintances into warmer contacts, warm them up on the Stella and Dot side, warm them up to know and like and trust you. And as they do that, as they love you and love the product, they're going to want more of it, and they're going to feel comfortable sharing it with their friends, and they'll find their friends to bring together. And then keep filling that funnel by doing things like going to events. And that event could be book club. Say yes more often. Go to more socials more often. Make friends at the winery at the table beside you. You know, compliment her on her necklace or whatever she has going on. You know, sincere compliment. But make a friend and build rapport and connect. Like, hey, this was fun. We should go out again. I have a coffee Thursday morning with a friend who's bought a pair of earrings once. And my intention is just to go and be friends with her, but she'll be shopping with whatever I'm wearing. So take that time to build on those relationships, and then keep that funnel filling, follow up with them so they fall out through into your business, right? Anything else?
Before I started Stella & Dot, I didn't like coffee, and now I drink a lot of coffee because I go to a lot of coffees. And that's my way of saying that's how I get my social time in with people. It's generally something that's very non-threatening. You can grab a cup of coffee with somebody and sit for half an hour, even if you don't have a ton of time, and just kind of get to know them better. We call them one-to-ones in networking. But it's always a fun thing to do. And you can sit with a glass of water. You don't have to have coffee. But think about those little tidbits of, like, that social connection is so much more meaningful than anything else you can do. Face-to-face is always going to trump text or
it reminds
message.
me, though, when I first met Barbara, and I met her through social media, and I think we've shared this with you all, but as I saw that she had a blog, I went and I followed it and I read about her. Then I reached out to her and, like, it says you love accessories, but I don't say anything about accessories. Do you know about Stella & Dot? I'd love to be your go-to person. And we determined we lived near each other. We went and met for coffee. And then as you started building your business, you're like, well, she'd be great, but I don't know when we can ever get together for coffee. She lives so far away. She works. I'm like, you don't have to get together for coffee for her. Like, she can still have access to this without coffee. And you're like, oh, right? Because it was what you knew. But I love it that that's just you. It really is more your, like, I want to connect. I want to build value and relationship there. So we do have a very digital and online business, so there are lots of ways to share, which brings me back to, I use my notes on my phone to save my favorite things I like to share, right? Whether it's the stylist page of my website, whether it's a recent video, like, I keep my shareables under my notes page on my phone so I can immediately fire it off to them. I save my favorite photos so I have easy photos to share. With my online shows, you're creating a whole list and you know who's active there, right? So you know who to possibly reach out to. Like, she loved everything, why didn't she shop? I bet she'd be a great hostess or stylist. So you can be meeting a lot of people, and this business is wide open for us. We have such a small part of the pie that it's non-existent. Like, there's not even a sliver. We have so much room to grow in our accessories and retail business, and especially as our platform is growing. They don't have to love Stella & Dot. They could love Keep, or they could love Ever. But you have so much room to grow. And even on social media, I noticed you've been using social media, growing your VIP group on Facebook, growing your Instagram. And I've had people say, oh, does that get you a lot of sales? Well, no, but I'm building relationships, which I think will result in sales. What's working for you there? You're clearly, you've got over 2,000 new friends on Instagram. 2,400 new friends on Instagram.
2,400 new friends on Instagram. Actually, what's working there is when people comment, I'm commenting back, and I'm going and taking the time to go look at their photos and commenting and doing thoughtful comments. You know, love the way you paired those shoes with that dress, that sort of thing. And then taking it into a message.
Right.
Again, I'm taking it to what I am comfortable with, and that's personalized.
You should send them a little coffee emoji.
Right? Personalizing it,
yeah.
And taking it offline, and just building that one-to-one relationship. No, obviously, I'm not doing it with 2,400 people, but the people who are
24 people.
The people who are taking the time to be personal with me, I'm taking the time to be personal with them, and I have had somebody yesterday comment about the top that I posted, and oh my gosh, where do I get the top?
You.
I know exactly where you can get that top.
I was at a lunch last week, and they were talking about using social media, and we were talking about this whole subject of prospecting, and some people were hesitant about should they post videos and how often, and I said, here's the thing I think about. I can go to coffee tomorrow with a friend, which I would love to do. I need that social, that connection. I will thrive off of having that time with her, and my business will grow because of that too. But right before I go, when I'm dressed in something cute, for me to go do a quick video with, offer a coffee date. Check out the earrings I'm wearing. I paired it with this. Who has this top? It looks so cute with this type of denim. Like, for me to give them some quick style tips, I just put myself in front of, let's say 200. I've got 5,000 Facebook contacts, so I'm going to assume 200 people will see that video. I, in 3 minutes time, put myself in front of 200 people, which is prospecting and relationship building and building trust. And there's no other way I could get it in front of 200 people in 3 minutes. So doing that consistently, that makes sure it's like hanging an open sign. And people, you have to then pay attention to who's liking and commenting. You can even see views now and message them with like, thank you so much for noticing. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you for being for being a part of my life, right? Not what are you gonna buy?
Right.
Because that will come. I promise you that will come. But I just love the power of social media, from being able to hang an open sign, and it was such incredible resource for prospecting really fast.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Yeah.
I agree. Absolutely.
So trying it a little bit in different ways. Like, I see you up in your game on stories on Instagram.
Oh, I'm trying everything. I'm trying to really see what resonates with the people that I'm connected with. But I'm really finding that stories, integrating some polls. Last night I did would you like to see more outtakes? And I got a huge response to that. So
oh my gosh.
Guess what I'm going to be doing? Because I always have like the picture of me that she takes and likes to hold hostage. I'm going to post them. Right? I'm going to embarrass myself, but I think that people really want to see that. They want it. Makes me more vulnerable. It makes me more real. Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, because it's always so nice to have like the perfectly curated pictures, and does my hair look good, and can you see my turkey neck or not?
What? You have a turkey neck?
I do have a turkey neck.
Insert Ever? Have you seen this new Ever product coming out?
I love Ever, but I still have, no, it's not a turkey neck. I have like this.
You have a bird neck. It's like a little bird. She's like a little bird.
This weird thing.
So here's the thing. The next thing you always say was, well, I don't have the time. I don't know how. I don't want to make the effort. You can't do everything. So I think pick one thing you want to focus on and get better at that, and then pick another thing. So one little thing at a time is great. Like a month ago, she's like, F stories. I'm not doing stories.
True.
Guess what?
True
She's
story.
doing stories now, but she mastered something else. So she's like, okay, let me move on and add a little bit more in. So focus on one thing that you want to do that makes you happy. And if I really had to think about what's the most important thing to do, it's that high value activity of going back to the people that are hot and warm and close to you, and helping move your business forward with them, and then meeting 10 people that they know that are acquaintances of yours or you don't know yet, adding them into your funnel. So going back to the basics is really key, and then the rest is just kind of bonus, right? If you have the time to fit it in. And I think you have to look at it in small bites of time. I have been very cautious to not spend time scrolling Facebook or Instagram, because an hour can go by and it's zero value, right? So instead, I'm very intentional. Like you said, if I'm going to scroll, I take time to comment. And the moment I stop commenting, I stop scrolling, right? I'm like, oh, I don't get that person, I don't understand that photo. I either unfollow or I comment. And the moment that I'm ready to keep scrolling, I'm just like, no, I need to put it down because it's not the best value of my time. So making that comment and interacting is truly prospecting. So it's someone else I can kind of add into my future pipeline. So
right.
I think we're really good at prospecting.
Yeah, I would have to say I think we are.
Do you feel pretty confident about your list of potentials?
I do, and having this conversation is actually really good for me, because I'm in my brain, I'm thinking, wow, I just thought of like 10 more people that have to have a show this month. So I'm gonna go home and book some shows.
So I would also say, and you said this earlier, write it down on your who do you know list. A mentor of mine said years ago, the palest ink is better than the brightest memory. Write it down, whether it's on a sticky note somewhere on your
notes
hand.
in your phone. Yeah, I've written it on my palm before, because it's like if I have it in the moment, there's so many things to distract me. By the time I get in my car and I drive the half hour home, it's going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
So as soon as we jump off this, I'm going to grab my phone, write my notes. So when I get home, I can take action and I don't have to go.
Can't remember the 200 people and all the things.
No.
And if you can remember all your potentials, you haven't put enough into your pipeline.
Yes.
Right? If you aren't getting no's, you haven't offered enough.
I actually got an email last night from somebody who was like, I'm sorry, but now's not a really good time. And it took me a few minutes to realize who it was that was sending me the email, because I had completely forgotten that
Yeah, that happens.
I had not written her down. I had not done any of the things that I'm telling you to do. So don't be like Barbara.
Right.
Write it down so that you know what's going on and you can follow up. And thank goodness she sent me. I actually had it was original email was like 3 months ago. I followed up with her like a couple weeks after that, and it's literally been like 6 weeks.
So speaking of which, on follow up, sometimes like we have the system where you like do it, 2 days later and 5 days later and 10 days later and a month later. Sometimes it's like 6 months before I do that second follow up. And I honestly just fall on my sword and go, oh my gosh, girl, I left you hanging. I'm so sorry. I did a couple of reach outs. My business was exploded, or my life got in the way. I'm sure you can relate. I haven't forgotten about you. You're still important to me. So I'm not always perfect with it, but I do it, and I just do it often enough that my business keeps growing.
Yeah.
All right,
she does
guys.
it in spite of herself.
Right? Post any comments below if you have any questions.
Yeah.
Follow Barbara on Instagram under
I'm at the stylish chick.
at like ampersand the stylish chick.
Yeah.
I'm
the stylish.
Styled Insiders.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys, have a good one.
Bye.